Hello students, welcome back to my channel Easy Tips in Botany. Now we will go with the first year's questions for the IP exams because now only we will be having nearly, you take 15 to 17 days for preparing for the IP exams, isn't it? So we'll go with the most important questions in the IPE, and those topics are again important for the NEET also. If you have prepared for IPE means in that context, whatever the NEET-wise question comes, you can easily give the answers. The concept will be in our hand at that moment. So now, first of all, we will see with the easiest LAQ. That means we have to write here the first year, the maximum marks in the subject is the 60 marks paper. And in that, you have to attempt in the section A all 10 VSQs of 2 marks questions, and in the section B, 4 marks questions will be there. In that, you have to attempt 6, they will give 8. So 2 will be the choice for us. 2 questions are the choice questions, choice wise. And in the third section, that is the long answer sections, where we have to write 2 LAQs, 2 long answers. They will give 3. That means only one choice is there. So the slow learners and for everyone, if we prepare with the 2 chapters LAQs, then that's fixed for us to get the 16 marks in. So this comes for the slow learners and the passing marks only if they need. And along with that, the candidates who wants to score full marks, that is the 60 out of 60. So for everyone, this is the constant scenario. So in this, what are the chapters which are important for us to go with the LAQs? That is the 5th chapter and the 7th chapter. That is the morphology and the sexual reproduction in the flowering plants. These 2 chapters are the most important ones where we will get the 2 LAQs from these 2 chapters successfully. Otherwise, respectively, no issue of deleting this LAQs from this. So the first one we will go with the 5th chapter. In the 5th chapter, that is in the morphology in the flowering plants, it is we will be having the 3 LAQs, 3 long answers in that root modifications, stem modifications, and the decimos inflorescence. So first of all, we will go with the somewhat trickiest question, somewhat long, and how to attempt this very easily. And I will suggest everyone who are for my subject wise, I'm saying, okay. So in my subject, LAQs are lengthiest ones. Okay, that means they take much time. Every step in that needs the diagram, and 1 or 2 examples are mandatory. So in that, time consumption will be more, not for the students who learned everything perfectly. I'm not saying for them. I'm saying for the medium range candidates, where they will think and write, keep on thinking and writing the answers. For them only I'm saying. So in that, this will be the time consuming answers for them and paper consume. That means if we start in the starting, then we will keep on writing very neatly and leaving one line in that. So it takes up the nearly 3 to 3.5 pages, maybe, or 4 pages also we can see. So like that, if you are writing the LAQs of 6 pages or 7 pages, then you may not have the sufficient space for the other SAQs, which are carrying 24 marks. So my humble request, and you can say it's a request, but in my case, I will say it's an order. Attempt SAQs first, VSAQs second, and at the last LAQ. Subject to subject, this attempting the LAQs differs. So don't compare all the subjects are having the same rules and regulations. I'm saying for my subject, first of all, you have to attempt the SAQs, then VSAQs. At the last, you have to go with the LAQs where you can take complete time as well as space will be present for you. And if less space, then you can adjust your answer in that space, but we won't adjust with the points in. That is also very, very important. So take care of all these things and start going. So here in the morphology of the flowering plants, we are going with the long answers. The first one is the stem modifications. Explain how stem is modified variously to perform different functions. What was the question? How they asked? Explain. Explain means you have to write at least 1 or 2 lines for each kind of the modification, why that is done, and how it is useful for the plant life. Everything we have to say over there. So we cannot give the modification name and the example and wind up. So stem modifications, first of all. So here they didn't ask the definition, but our duty is to write the definition. That is the what is meant by stem modification. Stem modification means the stem which is modified itself to perform some special functions. And the stem, which part of the stem? The main axis, branches, sub-branches, and parts of the stem. What are the parts of the stem? Axillary buds are terminal buds. If anything modifies, then to do some special function in the plant body, that is called as the stem modification. So here, all these points, whatever I said, that you have to put in the bracket. Stem. In the bracket, nodes, not the nodes, sorry. Axillary buds, terminal buds are the sub-branches, branches are the main axis. Brackets close. Modifies to do some special function for the plant is called as the stem modifications. Now, how many types of stem modifications? Stem modifications can be easily divided, majorly divided into 3 types. Aerial, subaerial, and underground. Aerial, subaerial, and underground. So these are the 3 types of the stem modifications. Aerial stem modification means the stem that is present above the soil is modifying itself to do some special functions in the plant body is called as the aerial stem modification. Subaerial stem modification. That means 1/4 of the stem is under the soil, 3/4 will be above the soil. This 1/4 will do some other functions than the original functions of the stem. That is called as the subaerial stem modifications. Underground stem modification. When the stem is growing completely under the soil, along with its main axis, branches, sub-branches, that is called as the underground stem modifications. So first of all, we will go with the aerial stem modification. Now, whatever I said, the definitions, you have to write when we are explaining each and every part. That is aerial stem modification. The stem that is present above the soil is modified itself to do some special functions. So, what are the parts which are modified? The parts which are present on the stem, that is the axillary buds, terminal buds are the branches, sub-branches are the complete stem. When modifies, that is the aerial stem modification. So, aerial stem modifications are of 4 types. The first one will be the stem tendrils. stem tendrils. What is meant by stem tendrils? These the tendrils are the slender, spirally coiled, very weak in nature. These structures. This will help out in giving the support for the weak stemmed plants. Okay, to hold the support, this tendril will help out. Tendril means the spring-like structure that is present for the plant body, which is a very weak, green in color. Okay, this helps in holding the support for the weak stemmed plants. So that in this stem tendrils are formed by the axillary buds are the terminal buds. So here what we have to write, stem tendrils means tendrils are the weak, thin, wiry structures which holds the support to holds the wall or the pole or the fencing to give extra support for the weak stem plants. That is called as the tendrils, stem tendrils. When the axillary buds or terminal buds are modified into the tendril-like structures, that is called as the stem tendrils. So in this axillary buds and the terminal buds we said. So two examples we have to write. The first one is the gourd. Gourd means cucumber, pumpkin, all these ones will come. Okay. So gourds. So this in this one, cucumber, turnip, not turnip, sorry, cucumber, uh, melon, okay, and the pumpkin also comes under this gourds. Cucumber means kira, any type of kira that also comes, and the bottle gourd, ridge gourd, bitter gourd, karela, anything comes under this gourds. So these are the stem tendrils. In this, the axillary buds will terminate and the uh, and then the gourds, the terminal buds terminate and the axillary buds terminate into the tendrils in the grapevines. Okay, the grapevines also the buds terminate into the thin, wiry, slender structures. So here in the gourds, axillary buds, the grapevines, terminal buds will develop into the tendril-like structures. Okay, in the gourds, axillary buds. And in the grapevines, terminal buds. And here we have to draw the diagram. Only one sentence. What is meant by tendril? And in the stem tendrils, which part is modified? And based on that, only the examples. So in this, how the modification occurs. This is the node. Okay. Like this. And at this place only, leaves are going to be seen. Okay. So like this, the modification occurs in the plant body, that is the stem tendrils. In this is the spring-like structure is the tendril. Done. So in the stem tendrils, two examples. The axillary buds modifies into tendril in gourds and the terminal bud modifies into tendril in the grapevines. Okay. And the next one is the thorns. Thorns. Thorns are the, in this, what we have to write, the best example is the bougainvillea. Example, bougainvillea. Okay. This is the one. If the people who cannot go with that word, they can go with the citrus. But only one example is sufficient. Okay, that is the thorns. In this, axillary buds or terminal buds modifies into hard, sharpened structures to reduce the rate of transpiration. These are the thorns. So here we have to write this, draw this diagram and give the labeling as the thorns. Done. Over. Only one sentence. Okay. And the next one is the phylloclade. Third one is phylloclade. Example, opentia. So in this, what happens? Complete stem modifies into green flattened cushion-like structure. Green flattened cushion-like structure. That is the phylloclade. And in this phylloclade, the leaves are completely modified into green colored sharpened structures called as the spines. That is the one what we have to say here. Okay. So this is the opentia. And in this, one more part is also there, phylloclade, cladophil. So cladophil means the basal part of the branch, which modifies into a green colored swollen cushion-like structure called as the cladophil. Example in this is the casuarina. Casuarina. Okay, this is the best example for the cladophil. And in this, the cladophil is the needle-like structures. All these modifications, the last one, what we have to say, all these modifications helps out to reduce rate of transpiration, and this occurs in the xerophytic plants. That's it. Over. In this only, we have to write 4 sentences. Simple diagrams, easy. Then the fourth one is the bulbil. Bulbil is the fourth one. So in this, what happens? The vegetative or the floral buds of the plants modifies into somewhat bulb-like structure by storing excess amount of the food material. That is called as the bulbil. In this, the best example is the Dioscorea agave. Agave means aloe vera, and Dioscorea. Any one example you have to write. Any one. No need of both. Dioscorea. That is the bulbil. Okay. So aerial stem modifications were over. So here the diagram for the bulbil. And then we have to draw the diagram. This is the bulb. Done. Over. Okay. Now subaerial stem modifications. Subaerial stem modifications means 1/4 of the stem is completely under the soil and 3/4 will be above the soil. This 1/4 is meant for the modification. This is called as the modification. Now the subaerial. Subaerial stem modifications are again of the four types. The first one is the runners. Example, oxalis. Oxalis. So in this, what happens? The stem is parallel to the soil surface, having nodes and internodes. Wherever the nodes are there, like this bunch of adventitious roots. And above to this, this is the oxalis. Done. And here, small one you have to draw. Oxalis. Over. And in this, the stem is horizontal to the soil surface. 1/4 of the stem is under the soil. 3/4 will be above the soil, which helps out in the vegetative propagation. That's it. Now comes with the stolons. Stolons. Stolons, example, Miriam. Okay. So in this, what happens? The branches which are nearer to the soil will bend obliquely and goes into the soil, and after some time it comes above the soil. That is the stolons. And the part which is present under the soil will be having at least one nodal region. This is the stolons. And the third one is the sucker. Suckers. Suckers, example, chrysanthemum. Okay, suckers, example, chrysanthemum. So in this, what happens? The one nodal region of the stem is under the soil. One nodal region of the stem is under the soil, and 3/4 will be above the soil surface. And the plant part which is present under the soil will have will start developing the branches, and these branches runs parallel to the soil surface, then grows above the soil. This is the sucker. And this branch which is running parallel, having the many nodes and internodes of it. And when we cut this, each and every node acts like a seed to develop. That is the one. So that is the suckers. Next one is the offsets. Offsets, Pistia is the example. Pistia is the example. So in this is an aquatic plant. The stem is 1/4 is under the water, 3/4 will be above the water, and at each nodal region, adventitious roots are developing. Opposite to this, the rosette arranged leaves are present. This is the offset. Okay, the internodal region of the stem is called as the offset. This much, one sentence over. Now, underground stem modification. And at the last of this sub-aerial, you have to say that all these modifications are meant for the vegetative propagation. Next, underground stem modifications. Underground stem modifications are of four types. And when the stem is completely grown under the soil, it is called as the underground stem modification. This will be, this occurs, but this is to avoid the grazing by the animals, excess grazing by the animals. That is the first one. And after that, what we have to say, with this vegetative propagation can be done very easily. And the plant does not need much more space, and it can store maximum amount of food material in it. These are the ones for what purpose the stem grows under the soil. Okay, the first one is the rhizome. In the rhizome, example, ginger. So this is the example, ginger. In this, the stem grows horizontally at a limited depth in the soil, having dorsiventral structures. Okay, root system, and this much only, and having one single terminal bud. Stem is branch. That is a ginger. Okay. Next comes the only this much, and you have to draw the diagram. Ginger. This is the gingiber. Over. In this, the diagram and the nodes. This is the node. This space is the internode. These are the scale leaves. Okay. Next one is the core. Example, colocasia. This, the stem grows vertically at a limited depth, having nodes and internodes on it and one single terminal bud. And the scale leaves are long, brown, dark brown colored, which helps in reducing the rate of transpiration from the stem. That is the cord, this much. And having one small branch called as the daughter cord. Next one is the stem tuber. Stem tuber, example, potato. So in this, what happens? In this, the complete stem grows under the soil and stores excess amount of the food at the tips of the branches, which turns into the tuber-like structure called as the stem tuber. On this, the nodes are represented by dot and the scale leaves are represented like the scar. It looks like eye. So this is also called as the potato eye. Okay, and this much only. And the last one is the bulb. Example for bulb, onion. So in this, what happens? The stem is reduced to small disc-like structure where the scale leaves are arranged in the concentric manner. This is the one. And opposite to this, for the stem, it is having the adventitious roots. Okay, this is the bulb. And all these modifications helps out in the vegetative propagation. This much we have to write and wind up. So this is the way. And in some materials, they have not given about the description of the underground stem modifications, but we have to give the description because this is the most important one. We cannot skip out by saying the side heading example in the diagram. We need to represent that with the one sentence. That is the mandatory explanation is needed. Now, so all these 12 we have to remember and write over there along with the 12 examples. Okay, so if you like this channel, please subscribe and convey the messages to your friends or anyone who wants to watch this video to clarify the doubts what they are having to write about the question and the final IP exams. Okay, so some will have much more questions. So better to watch this video to rectify your comments. So I think after finishing of that, I think you have satisfied with all your doubts. Okay, so we will meet in the next class, next video with the another questions. Okay, right? Till that, stay tuned to my channel. Is it Tips in Botany, right? Thank you.